picked off by Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala to the...
This is LeBron James, and right after I unpause this, he is going to make one of the clutchest blocks in NBA Finals history.
Oh, great block! James out of nowhere, skies to the rim.
You see, LeBron has just pulled off one of the most impossible comebacks and legendary closeout performances in Finals history, taking down a Western Conference team he had no business beating, especially with their insane backcourt shooting duo. But now, he's made the city of Cleveland champions, hoisting a Finals MVP and popping champagne. Unfortunately, he would go on to lose his best co-star in a trade for a guard that was a bad fit, even though no one knew it at the time. And from there, it was time for the rebuild. This is a story that's bittersweet, but never to be repeated again. The end.
Now Booker with Tucker on him.
This is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And right after I unpause this, he is going to make one of the clutchest blocks in NBA Finals history.
Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
You see, Giannis has just pulled off one of the most impossible comebacks and legendary closeout performances in Finals history, taking down a Western Conference team he had no business beating, especially with their insane backcourt shooting duo. But now he's made the city of Milwaukee a city of champions, hoisting a Finals MVP and popping champagne. Unfortunately, he would go on to lose his best co-star in a trade for a guard that was a bad fit, even though no one knew it at the time, and from there, it was time for a rebuild. Except, it isn't. You see, the Bucks not too long ago were the team to beat in the East. They had this legendary second round series with the Celtics that was really anyone's to win, and they were the lock at the 1 seed year after year after year. And yeah, even though they couldn't get things done in the playoffs sometime since, they still had that core that won a championship, and the core of that core in Giannis. However, after watching Giannis fight tooth and nail and lack that offensive second option in this series, the front office bit the bullet and swung for the fences, grabbing the best offensive second option available, Damian Lillard.
Are you kidding me?
The decision was a win, win, and win. Except they didn't win. They aren't winning. Which makes you wonder, how the hell did this not work? To understand it, we have to look at the Cavs. You see, losing LeBron was the end of an era for Cleveland. Their hero had bid them adieu, and it was time to look forward into the future, which begun with the selection of Colin Sexton. Unfortunately, they were still the 2018 Cavs, but without LeBron. They won 19 games. However, the Rocky season would propel them to get their first franchise cornerstone in Darius Garland. And hell, they even grabbed a new coach while they were at it. Things were finally looking up in Cleveland. They won 19 games. The slow climb continued over the next few years, netting huge win pieces like Jarrett Allen in a trade with the Nets and Evan Mobley until it came time to swing for the fences, and they did just that with the signing of Donovan Mitchell. Just like that, they were back to contention, losing round 1 that year, but then making it to the second round the year after. All of a sudden, the Cavs are back, but the slight decline from last year would have you assume that early season losses are imminent, except they didn't lose. They aren't losing, which makes you wonder, how the hell did this work? Somehow, right in front of our eyes, in just a matter of years, the Cavs and Bucks have completely flip-flopped, and while the Cavs sit undefeated atop the NBA right now, the Bucks are somehow taking performances like this and like this from 2 All-NBA MVP caliber players, and somehow still spinning loss after loss after loss. It may seem like the Bucks' downfall makes no sense, but when you look a little closer, it is obvious that this would never work out. It all comes down to their coaching and depth. More specifically, Darvin Ham. The Bucks have absolutely no bench. Hell, they don't even have Thanasis anymore. This leaves all of the heavy lifting on the stars, which makes having a good defense virtually impossible. They don't have Drew Holiday anymore. They gave up on their original coach who was winning them games. They refused to develop pieces like Ryan Rollins and Marjon Beauchamp. And oh yeah, Darvin Ham is in the coaching room. The Bucks are simply hollow. They're depleted, and when push comes to shove on a game-by-game basis, they simply don't have what they need to close out games. And that's regardless of if Giannis or Dame plays like Giannis or Dame. There's a really good video about this by Swishout, which I definitely recommend you go watch, but hey, finish this one first, okay? And the reason I bring up where the Cavs went right in order to understand where the Bucks went wrong is because the Cavs are the polar opposite of these Bucks. This year's Cavs are an absolute overabundance of offensive and defensive talent. You want scoring? Everyone on the floor can get a bucket. You need defense? They've got 2 7-footers down low. You need a clutch bucket? Donovan Mitchell. A playoff performer? Donovan Mitchell. A star to take your team from middle of the pack to undefeated? Donovan Mitchell. JB Bickerstaff has perfectly crafted this team in a way that is multifaceted, deep, and young, with the missing piece of Donovan Mitchell sliding perfectly into place to make it what we see today. It seems so hard to understand why the Cavs are so dominant while such a star-studded Bucks roster can't seem to win a game, and I think the best way to understand it is to simply watch a sample game. Now take this game against the Grizzlies from a few weeks back. This was the Bucks starting five. All of them were healthy, and here are the Grizzlies. It is an obvious skill disparity in favor of the Bucks, and they should easily clean up this win, right? The Bucks got blown out by 23 points. It doesn't even make sense when you look at the stat sheet either. Giannis led the entire game and dropped 37 points, and not a single Grizzly had over 26. But on nights where Dame doesn't also put up 30 plus points, they can't generate offense anywhere else than Giannis. The team's offense is completely dependent on two stars playing their best basketball every single night. And even when they do that, they still lose to teams like the Bulls by 11. That wasn't even close. Giannis and Dame combined for 66 points in this game against the Bulls, and they couldn't even scratch this awful roster. It all boils down to too much offensive dependence whilst having virtually zero perimeter defense. The Bucks defense is just cancer to watch. They are plain and simply awful. Darius Garland did this to them. Ja did this to them. Hell, Kobe White did this to them. They sacrificed their lockdown perimeter defender in Drew Holiday for Dame's offense, and not even that can counteract how much of a defensive hole this team has. On nights when Dame is out, the Bucks are even more screwed, and Giannis has to drop damn near 60 points just to take the Pistons to overtime. The Bucks are absolutely disgraceful. Their coaching is terrible. Their spacing is pitiful, and they are just a dumpster fire. When you compare that to a team like the Cavs, the scheme is night and day. The biggest difference comes from the fact that instead of relying on one or two stars to be the entire offense for a game, the Cavs have an everybody eats system that allows Darius Garland to have a night like this, Donovan Mitchell to have a night like this, and Evan Mobley to have a night like this, all within the same week. Their athletic and huge defense that is locks on the interior and lethal on the perimeter, paired with their offense where anyone can give you 30 on any given night, makes for the most impossible team to game plan, and the result is a perfect 13-0 record this far through the season. The Cavs are scary, man. The good news is we aren't even 1/6 of the way through the NBA season, and the Bucks have solutions like Marcus Smart sitting there waiting for them. Meanwhile, only time will tell if the Cavs can truly stay staying to the method that's working for them now. And since we already looked at a Bucks game example, I think it's only fair to end this video off by looking at this game between the Cavs and Warriors. Both teams are really great contending deep rosters who are atop their conferences, and in this game the Cavs star scorer Donovan Mitchell only scored 12 points and shot an abysmal 30% from the field. If Giannis did this, the Bucks would lose by at least 40, hell, maybe even 50, but the Cavs, they blew them out of the water. I've got nothing else to say, and I can't wait to watch how this season unfolds. Subscribe, it's free.